G'day folks, it's the Meeple Monkey here again with another live stream for you, and we're getting very close to the end of our 12 days of Christmas, and we're on day 11. So welcome to the chat. We're here to give a big shout out and thanks to all sorts of folks in the community and in the world of Marvel United and gaming. So we're back for day 11, and we have our friend fresh from a battle on the table. I've just finished a playthrough. We finally got there with Santa Claus here, and he has brought, let's see if I can slip it over his arm here. He's brought his bag of tricks as well. So he's going to tell us what he's brought on the 11th day of Christmas, which again, I'm doing these days of Christmas completely wrong. Apparently you're supposed to do them after Christmas, but we're doing it the other way around. So let's have a look here. Here we go. And today, and hello, g'day Martin and g'day Sin. How you going? And we have, I don't know if you can see that, it's the United Design Team. So we've spent a lot of time talking about homebrew and that sort of stuff as well. But I thought on the 11th day of Christmas, we would pay homage and thank the actual official design team who, without their trailblazing, without their pioneering, without them coming up with the original idea for the game, we would not have the hobby that we have. So I wanted to give these guys a big shout out. So I can't speak highly enough of all the great stuff that the fandom has done and the homebrew stuff that we've created, and the way that the fandom has come together and made such a positive and nice community. So I don't want to diminish that, and of course we've talked at length about all the great stuff that we've done, but yeah, without the guys behind the game itself, there would not be a game. So let's talk about them. Yep, that's right. Martin says they deserve so much love, and this is very much in danger of going very fanboyish and over the top and that sort of thing. But I think, like Martin says, they deserve it. So let's give them some well-deserved time in the sun here. So and I guess we've been talking a lot about design, and that's a big thing that I'm so inspired by and I love about this game. And of course, the designers, I think, will probably spend a lot of time talking about their work and what they've done. But I want to sort of make this a big shout out to the whole team as well. Wonder how far they would go if they could secure IPs with ease, right? And that's, I mean, as a little brief aside, one thing that I think is really fascinating about this is I was seeing in the days after the DC United campaign, Superheroes United, I was seeing lots of posts popping up in the Facebook page, and also some on Board Game Geek saying, "Oh, I'd love to see Gundam United. I'd love to see Pokemon United, or whatever they were saying. Star Wars United, or whatever it was." And I would see these posts pop up. And lots of people would jump on and go, "Yeah, that's exciting, blah, blah, blah." But I'd see these posts pop up, and I don't want to sort of linger too much on negative stuff. And this, not that it's an invalid opinion or anything like that, but people would jump on and go, "Oh, not another one of these posts. Like, why would we want other IPs? Oh no, stick to Marvel or stick to DC or whatever." And stop posting these and who cares, or and this sort of stuff. And I was just thinking, like, hey, why do you why do you need to? Okay, you might not want that particular thing, but you don't need to rain on other people's parades, sort of thing. I think we only got DC United because they secured the license with Deceased for Zombicide. Yeah, well, hey, whatever it takes to get it, let's get some of those IPs. That's good, because look at what we've now we've got this perfect thing if we can mash them together and that sort of stuff, which is really great. And through folks like yourself, Sin, and Andrew Fantasia and stuff, I've come to discover a lot more about DC than I used to, which is cool. And I'm now actually excited about that Superman trailer that just came out. But what was really interesting about that was, and I'm sort of guy that goes, "Oh, what are you talking about?" like in my own head, but I don't actually type anything because I don't want to cause internet conflict. But I was just thinking when I saw those posts, well, like, who cares? Well, lots of people care. Like, and in fact, there was someone who put a post up in, I can't remember if it was Facebook or Board Game Geek, but there was a post, and someone put a poll up saying, what would you what would you prefer to have? Another Marvel season, another DC season, or another IP? And it wasn't even close. It was like, how sometimes, you think of a poll, it's like, oh, 60%, that's a huge margin or whatever. This was like 70 something percent people wanted um, the uh, another IP. They lots of different ideas for IPs and whatever, but the question was another IP, and they uh, overwhelmingly, like very much overwhelmingly, wanted a different IP rather than more Marvel or more DC. And regardless of whether I personally would love to see more Marvel probably as first preference, and then another IP, and then DC third. I think that's probably the least likely. I think it's more likely we're going to get more DC, maybe no more Marvel, and maybe we'll get some other IP sort of stuff. But to your point before about seeing about what if they could secure another IP? I think that's the thing that like a lot of people would really love to see, because it sort of, they can maybe justify, because they're thinking, oh, I've got too much Marvel stuff already or whatever, but another IP, well, I guess I could find room for that on my shelf because it's like a different game sort of thing. So maybe you could justify getting more of it and stuff. So I think that would be a really popular way to go, whether or not they can get the IP or not. Fine. And another, let's go down the rabbit hole a bit more before we get back to the original point of this video. But I think I see a lot of other people saying, when I say a lot of other people, maybe 3 or 4 people saying, oh no, no, United is only suitable for superhero theme stuff, and you couldn't possibly do Street Fighter, you couldn't possibly do Gundam, you couldn't possibly do Dynasty Warriors, you couldn't possibly do Harry Potter, because they don't suit the move, punch, heroic. They don't suit the theme of the game and stuff. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's the most abstract, basic framework of a system. It's barely like and it sounds bad, but it's barely a solid system as such. It's like this really abstract framework where you think about it, like it's move. And yes, okay, the little symbols are like, bam, like little comic-y sort of symbols, but it's like move, attack, heroic. How is heroic only in superhero comics? It's not superheroic, it's heroic. Every protagonist in any IP is heroic. So, Harry Potter, move, attack, heroic. Star Wars, move, attack, or like all of those things suit the things. And yes, you could put some flavor in here and there to sort of make it more Star Warsy or more this and that. But the basic premise of like, can you insert any IP into this? Fantastic. And then the other thing is that, okay, well, what about the theme of like, say, Dynasty Warriors, moving armies about and that sort of stuff? Well, I hopefully, just in a not so humble way, I hope I've shown with some of the designs that I've made for Dynasty Warriors, if any of you have watched those, I've tried to capture the idea of armies moving around the battlefield, the civilians and thugs sort of like spreading out around as if the armies are sort of marching your way and trying to overwhelm you and that sort of thing. I think that's the beauty of this system, is it's so much fun with this abstract system coming up and telling a story within this framework. And I know that the homebrew designers like Dave and Martin, yourself, love telling a story within the framework of this system. And I think it's a system that you can tell Street Fighter stories. You can tell armies marching on a battlefield stories if you're clever enough with the way that you sort of approach it and that sort of thing. So that's my standing on the soapbox and making a rant about that sort of stuff. But for all the naysayers who say no other IPs, or no, it's impossible to do things that aren't superhero and that sort of thing, it doesn't suit it. It's like the idea of like, it's such a modular system. It's perfect for mashing up. Like that's the whole point, right? It's so much fun grabbing like Black Panther and Star Lord and Squirrel Girl and some other random, Ghost Rider, and pitting them together against Arcade and see what happens, sort of thing. That's mashup, right? And then we can mash up with DC heroes and that sort of thing. And why not grab Ken out of Street Fighter, and why not grab Luffy out of One Piece and put them together as well? So yeah, for those who say don't don't branch out into other things, I say there's a lot of fun to be had by doing that. But whether or not they can get the IPs, Whether or not they'll actually go about it, who knows? But in the meantime, we've got lots of homebrew that we can explore that stuff on our own. So there's be certain ideas that couldn't produce more than a core box. Now, in terms of characters, yes, I highly agree. So people say, oh, we couldn't do Ninja Turtles or whatever because there's only the basic Ninja Turtles and stuff. And I can't speak to certain IPs. I don't know enough. Maybe a Ninja Turtle aficionado would say, oh, actually, there's if you look at all these previous other storylines and stuff, you could add heaps of stuff. But yeah, certainly in terms of getting a whole season worth of stuff, or season or two worth of stuff out of a single IP, maybe that's tricky. But again, then maybe they approach it with, as you saw with like the X-Men thing, they sort of had like the X-Men campaign with some Fantastic Four stuff, which was kind of like a separate little thing. You could do like a Ninja Turtles and a this and that and this and that, maybe like IDW comics, Ninja Turtles and whatever properties they have. I think IDW actually have GI Joe, don't they? So you could do that sort of stuff as well. But I wouldn't mind the core box. Yeah, and hey, just like why not just release some core boxes every once in a while with different IPs? That's not bad. Yeah, good idea, Sin. Yeah, I completely agree. It's such a fertile ground, right? It's like it's because, and they call it like the United System. It's such a perfect thing. It's just you can insert anything you want into and just put United, and you can go there. And like everyone's got their preferences. Like there are certain IPs that people clamor for. And I'm like, oh, I'd hate to see. Like I really don't care for the Invincible world, right? Which might be, I might be speaking blasphemy for some of you there. You might love that world. I personally don't care for it, but hey, if they brought it out, okay, well, it might not be my favorite one, but there'd be some great, interesting characters there that I'm sure lots of people would be fans of. Same with the Watchmen. I'm not a big fan of that, but I bet there would be lots of people that would love Watchmen and that sort of thing as well. If they brought out Harry Potter, I think I'd burn all of my stuff in protest. But I think there'd be people who love Harry Potter. But yeah, and you guys know all the ones that I love because we've been making them and that sort of thing. So yeah, Smurfs, right? I saw someone saying, as much as I'm like, oh, I don't really think I'd like it. I think actually there'd be some really cool stuff. Someone said like a Disney one, right? Just Disney characters and stuff, and like it wouldn't be my favorite, but like I'm like, oh, actually there'd be some pretty cool stuff you could do with Disney stuff. So yeah, Foxhound, McCall, yeah, Metal Gear, yeah, so much stuff, right? So Thundercats. Now, off the top of the Thundercats could make a cool box. Yeah, you could do like the cartoon series or something and have like Thundercats and GI Joe and Ninja Turtles and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, that'd be a cool season, right? Just like the Saturday morning Cartoon Network or whatever, Nickelodeon season or something. Cartoon Network, but lots of great stuff. I love the Thundercats when I was young. Fantastic idea. Now, Martin, Thundercats is a touchy subject for me too because I never really got like they're cool. I knew of them and stuff, and but I never really got into them big. Like I know a lot of people have, and I know that they've had a resurgence and stuff, and they've had the new animated series a little while ago and that sort of stuff. But Big Head Chibis, so I want to give a plug for Big Head Chibis because Big Head Chibis have started making a range of. You can get tons of the Marvel United figures with what am I talking about? With the Thundercats characters. But I don't like it because it's less characters that they're making in the Marvel and the GI Joe and they took on Thundercats rather than going with Dynasty Warriors that I asked for. So I'm like, damn Thundercats! I don't want Thundercats. I want other stuff. But if you like your Thundercats, there's some great models there. So maybe check that out. And if you don't want to go the Patreon route, like I know some people are sort of turned off with that, and you just want to get individual ones rather than having to pay monthly for the different stuff, all the stuff from Big Head Chibis, I believe, is on Colts 3D. So you can just go there and just individually just pick the models you want, sort of thing. So that's an option too. Yeah, so no one's made Thundercats cards that I'm aware of, but hey, Martin, you are a person that can make cards as well. So if you like your Thundercats, maybe there's another project for you. You could completely go over the top and go for Thundercats. Oh, see, I know enough to know that. I know Thundercats. I think that's how it goes, isn't it? I think anyway. Yeah. So Oh, damn it! Now I'm getting excited about Thundercats. No, I don't. No, 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 no. Well, if you make them, yes, right. Well, okay, I won't tempt you because I was going to say if you make them, Martin, I might be tempted to print some off. So, how about we both make a gentleman's agreement? We won't do that. Cue tomorrow. There'll be some Thundercats. Thundercats. Oh. Anyway, well, that was a huge aside. Let's go back to um, the design team, Marvel United, the Simon United, or sorry, the Simon design team, and others, the Simon development team, and give them a wrap. So obviously we have to start with Andrea Chiavesio. Eric Lang, I believe, was another lead designer in the early days. I think he's since left the project, I think, because he's not with Simon anymore, but he was there at the beginning, sort of thing, with some of the original ideas. Some of the boxes have Rugefred Seda, or Cedar. Apologies for probably not pronouncing that name. So I don't know how much he was part of the design team, but I know that Andrea also was mentioning I want to say maybe Marco, um, a gentleman by the name of Marco, and maybe some others. But I apologize, I can't remember exactly how many others there are in that design team. But I know that it's not just Andrea. So I just wanted to give a shout out to that whole team because I'm sure they sort of collaborate and bounce ideas off each other, and different things that we might be a big fan of might have come from different people there as well. Biker Mice from Mars as well. Street Sharks, Captain Planet, yeah. What about those Silverhawks? Remember the Silver? Oh, hold on, we're getting off track again. This is just going to be a comment thread just full of 80s cartoons, and then getting into the 90s. Maybe let's launch into Dragon Ball as well. Why not? And all that sort of stuff. But I draw the line at Power Rangers. No, we won't be talking about Power Rangers on this channel. They were the first thing as a kid. I followed all of the trends. I watched all of the shows, and then Power Rangers came out, and I was like, "What is this garbage? What is this terrible, hokey acting and awful fight scenes, and just like cheap ripoff of like Voltron?" I hated it. Hated Power Rangers, but I know I'm just in that. I just was in the generation that, that wasn't in it. So apologies to all the Power Rangers fans. I'm sure they'd be a great IP to use as well. I know Andrea is highly active, and that's on this Simon United, but not sure how much outside influence they take into consideration. Yeah, interesting. And that's actually something I wanted to point out as well. Just a brief thing as well. Andrea, I wasn't aware that there was a great Euro game. I don't have it anymore, but it was a really good dice worker placement game called Kingsburg, and I didn't realize he was actually behind that game. That was his game. So I think they've done uh, recent sort of updates of it. Like there's been a couple of editions and that sort of thing. But yeah, great game. So I don't know how available it is still at the moment, but definitely worth checking out if you want a nice, solid, not too over the top, pretty easy to midweight. I wouldn't even say midweight, probably just easy Euro game. I shouldn't say easy, but lightweight Euro game. Fantastic little streamlined dice placement, worker placement sort of game. A lot of fun, and obviously we know Eric Lang, plethora of games and stuff that he's made, and makes lots of great stuff as well. But I did want to give a shout out to Andrea for that design, and he has come up with that new Civ game as well. I think it's if you guys know what, Nova Era, that's right, that's the one. Next new game will be out in Australia next month. Nova Era, that's right. Thanks, Dan. And Big Bad Beetleborgs. I've never heard about Big Bad Beetleborgs. Who's talking about Big Bad Beetleborgs? What about Big Bad Beetleborgs? That sounds interesting. I'd like to see that show. But yes, he's multi-talented. He's not just just known for Marvel United. He's done multiple things. I wanted to give a shout out to Edouard Gaiton. I think is how you pronounce that. The lead artist who sort of set the tone and set the style for the Marvel United art. Just such beautiful art. It's just such a fun, vibrant game. And I think this is the thing I love about the game is there's so much I love. First and foremost, I love the game for just the game itself, right? The rules and stuff are just so much fun, but the art and stuff is just so fun, and the miniature design, coinciding with that, the designers, the sculptors. What a fantastic range of models they've made, and so big shout out to them, and also the other artists in the team too. Edouard's the only one I know the name of, but I know there's a range of artists that have worked on the different seasons and stuff as well. So they all do great work. And so that's and I get it. Lots of people like to sort of like streamline their games, or they say, "Oh, this would be so much better without the minis," or "I like to do the pogs," or this or that. But for me, I just like the whole package. I couldn't leave any part of it behind. I love the minis. I love the hobby of painting them ever so slowly, but I love the hobby of painting them as well. So just fantastic, and so the whole total package I think is fantastic. And on that note, I want to give a shout out to Tiago as well. Um, I'm blanking on Tiago's surname. That's the only name I didn't write the surname down for in my little notes here. But apologies, Tiago. But uh, like, I think I love what the design team have done, but I also am grateful to Tiago because I get the sense that he curates the game very well and takes into account what's possible, and working with the IPs and the license and stuff, and has lots of great brainwave ideas for some of the ideas for the models, with the clear um, masks and all that sort of stuff. So I think he has been invaluable as a person who has crafted these seasons, and crafted what we get, and curated the what characters we can have, and has helped guide Andrea and the team in that sense. I'm not sure how much back and forth there is, and who has final say in this and that. But Tiago, from the way he talks in his those live videos during the campaigns and stuff, it certainly seems like a lot of those big decisions and big picture decisions are coming from himself. So I'm really grateful for what he's crafted, and some of those great sort of characters that have been thrown in, whether it's Andrea sneaking it in, or Tiago. It's just what we've ended up with is some great stuff. Condiment King and Fall Off Boy and all that sort of stuff. Just a lot of fun. He's Spider-Man, yeah. The Western version is way different to the Japanese original, as was the Power Rangers reusing costume footage and adapting where they could. Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, he's Spider-Man. But yeah, just a great product they've created. And so I can't thank them enough for what they've been able to create, and just the brilliance of the system being so adaptable, and so we're still 3 seasons in, 4 seasons in really with DC, 4 seasons worth of time for the homebrewers to work on their stuff, and 4 seasons worth of time for all of that homebrew range that's come out. And just we're still every day someone will pop something up on the Discord, and all the homebrewers will be like, wow, that's a really cool idea, and this and that. And so and I know you, Martin, can attest to that. Every time Nelly Nell drops a character, or Dave drops a character, or some new up and comer sort of drops one, we're often all in there saying like, oh, that's a really cool mechanic, or that's a cool way to sort of tell that story or whatever. So and it's just, yeah, it's so amazing how you think, oh, how many more ways can I tell this, or I want to do a character that is like an assassin or hunts people down and stuff. But as we've seen, there's within the official range, there's lots of different ways to sort of tell the Sabretooth story or the Mystique story, and Nelly Nell, and that he's got his Widowmaker and his Reaper and all these guys. So many different ways you can tell that story, and it's just a lot of fun. So so much fun to see the creativity, even if I've never heard of it. Yeah, that's the other thing too. It's like we're learning more things, and we're getting to discover stories through these as well, which is a lot of fun. So I thought what we could do as well, and I also want to give a shout out as well to Andrea for and you alluded to this before, and not just Andrea, but it's like, to me it feels like the whole team. And Tiago obviously is in that higher up position, and he has to make some of these like um, sort of businessy sort of decisions and that sort of thing. And yes, they're a company, Simon are a company, and they are not perfect. And obviously things went a bit awry with the, well, I shouldn't say a bit, for the folks who are affected by it, I'm sure it's very, very annoying and very upsetting. But the shipping fiasco that seemed to affect a lot of folks. And regardless of how much of it is up, in the control of CMON and whether how they communicate and all that sort of stuff, seems like a very tough thing that people had to go through there. So, but in terms of this game and love that team, not I'm not talking about CMON, the big company here, but the people, the individuals, the people, Tiago, the design team, the artists, and that sort of stuff. I think they've created this game for us in as uncynical a way as we can hope for. Like, yes, certainly there's the FOMO of the sales model, the Kickstarter and the exclusives and all that sort of stuff, which turns a lot of folks off and that sort of stuff. And that's a reality, and we can't ignore it. And that's certainly not necessarily great and that sort of stuff. But in terms of just making a game that's fun, and I think that they love the game itself. I personally think that and I don't want to again sort of point to not negativity, but just conversation that sort of threw me a little bit recently was we were and Martin, you and I were and others were discussing. I think you asked the question like, what do you like what do you think of homebrew, like when we make homebrew designs where we take an existing character and we like tweak it or add something or tell our version of the story with it, change up some of the threats or whatever. And I personally I for my collection, because I've got so much, I prefer to stick to like if I'm going to print stuff off, I'd like to get like new characters, because I tend to not be as big a expert with the stories too. So I think a lot of the thing with some of these characters is the stories can kind of like miss for a few people who are really in like know the story or know the character, know those sorts of ins and outs. And it's sort of, I think a lot of it goes over my head, so I'm not as aware of it. And I just like, oh, this character seems cool, and this is a cool villain battle and that sort of thing. So there's that side of it. And also I prefer to sort of print off brand new characters and brand new IPs and that sort of thing, just because it sort of gives me, it makes it feel for me like I'm getting new stuff every time, sort of thing. But I really do think that what a lot of the designers do, and Dave, yourself, and lots of the designers, they come from a point of they love the Marvel stuff or whatever it might be, and so what they really like to do with the homebrew scene is like take a character that like disappointed them a little bit with a story here, or they thought that the character was not balanced enough or too hard, too easy, whatever it is, and tweak it, and make it work for them, sort of thing. And that's such a valuable thing, and it's a huge response from it. Lots of people really like it, that sort of stuff. It's I just want to make sure I'm keeping up with the thingy too. You expect it with the amount of campaigns they've done. Shipping wouldn't be that much of it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know enough about the shipping world that it's like I feel like sometimes with shipping it's like you can be the most experienced people in the world and stuff's still going to go sideways, but how you mitigate it and how you react to it and stuff, I guess, can be different and stuff. But back to my point about so with this conversation we were having, I don't want to sort of get into like, oh, this person was wrong or anything like that, but this person popped up and said like, oh, and I think what rubbed me the wrong way was they said was it designers, the design team do it for the money, the homebrewers do it for the love, and then went on to say all this great stuff about what homebrew can bring and all that sort of stuff, and I agree about that part, but I don't particularly, it rubbed me the wrong way that it was just like this, and I get it, because it's that we all sort of have that sort of thing again, big corporations, it's like Games Workshop, CMON, what if they're a big enough deal, Netflix, whatever it is, like it's the big brother or big corporate, blah blah blah. And in a lot of ways that, yeah, okay, yes, there's lots of decisions that are anti-consumer and that sort of stuff, but saying, they're just mercenaries, they're doing it for the pay, the homebrewers are the only ones who do this for love, sort of thing. And to be honest, I'm putting words in that they didn't say homebrewers are the only people that do it for the love, but it was just like designers do it for the pay, homebrewers do it for the love, and I was just like, I don't, and so I think I made a comment saying, hold on, like I don't really think in this particular case that Andrea is only doing it for the money, and he doesn't love the game and have a lot of passion for the game. And then So that's kind of what I want to get to, is that I think that, you know, this design team, not only have they created this amazing product, but it hasn't happened out of like um, you know, marketing science and like, oh, they, you know, it's come from people who are designing this for the love of board gaming, and they had a vision for a cool game, and they want to see that realized. So that's my long-winded sort of thing, is I think Andrea sort of shows that through his love, you know, his interaction and support of the community. He comes in and he's still, you know, in Board Game Geek or Facebook United, you know, just about every post that you see in Facebook United, people posting stories about their games nights, people posting questions, people posting photos of their painting and that sort of stuff. He'll be in there liking things, responding to people, answering questions. And, you know, I think that shows his commitment to it. And you know, when you hear him talk about his design process, you hear him talking about in those live streams, I think he really does love the game. And that's the sort of what I was trying to say. And then unfortunately the conversation then seemed to respond back like, no, Homebrew is great, Homebrew does all this, Homebrew does all that. And I'm like, yeah, I know Homebrew is amazing, it's awesome, but I was just saying, I don't think Andrea is doing it well, he is doing it for the money because like that's his job and stuff, but I don't think he's just doing it for that. I think he's also doing it for the love. So that's my little thing to get off my chest, sort of thing. Yes, it's a sensitive, multi-layered topic. There's definitely a sort of narcissistic area where part of you feels that you are improving, and I think, I mean, that's you know, that of course you're improving it, you know, for yourself. Like that's, you know, you see a thing, you're like, oh, I'd love it if this character did this or that, and that's yeah, that's fine. I think also, like, if you're saying, oh, this character's totally broken and I'm fixing it, sort of thing, that's maybe, you know, it's all it's a nuance of language, right? You know, if you couch it with like, oh, I'm fixing it for myself, or I'm making this change for myself personally, you know, that, yeah, but that's all, you know, depending on if you're a blunt, no, I shouldn't say blunt, but if you're a person who likes to be upfront and say what you mean, sort of thing, mate, feel free to say, yeah, you're fixing it if you know, in your mind it needs to be fixed or whatever. But it's one of those things, I guess, Andrea. But yeah, I think the main thing I want to get across here is that I think Andrea, and by and large, I think that whole team really have shown love for this project, and I think it comes through in what they've created for us. Um, uh, yeah, you improve. You get more out of your minis. Yeah, and that, yeah, so like it's, and that's the thing. So I'm like, I really do think, you know, all homebrew, like whether you're iterating on original designs or you know, sometimes Dave talks about, like, you know, he's makes alternate versions of his cards just so he can have two sets, so that he can have those heroes that have or the villains that use hero decks and things like that, and he can store them together. You know, there's all sorts of purposes, and there's all sorts of ways, as you say, you know, Martin, that you get more use out of your minis. Like, for example, um, Dave's just done that Nemesis design, and you know, so normally I probably wouldn't. I'd be like, okay, that's cool, but like I don't really feel the need to sort of print off another Nemesis sort of thing. But having played that Nemesis, I'm like, that's a pretty good Nemesis fight. Like maybe I can print that one off as well. But yeah, so like like the homebrew scene, there's so many different ways that can be valuable for people, and there's, you know, so many different ways that people can enjoy that and access it and that sort of thing as well. So that's fantastic. But I really am thankful to Andrea for being so committed and you know, being so passionate about this, because I think it's helped make the game, you know, better than what it could have been, sort of thing. And I also am big thankful to him because back in the day, he was the one that got me off the fence with homebrew, and I always was a bit like, oh, are you allowed to do this? Like, are we like rules breakers if we're coming in and making our own sort of thing? And for him, from that official, you know, I guess he's not a CMON executive sort of thing, but as a designer, for him to say to me in the comments when I said, hey, could you please make a Cameron Hodge? Because I read this storyline and I thought that was really cool. He responded, again, an example, he responded and he said to me, hey, that sounds like more of a homebrew idea. Why don't you do it as a homebrew? And I was like, if the designer is okay with people making their own stuff, versions of this stuff, I was like, that's cool. And then I was like, cool, green light. He's told me I can do it. So jumped in, and it's been a rabbit hole all the way down, sort of thing. So but it was thanks to his encouragement there that I had the confidence to start working on that. So yeah. Let's have a look here. More of the minis. Andrea shows so much passion. I have 20 card deck for Hero Doctor Doom, so that I can swap his specials and give him a different feel. There you go. So yeah, just having these, like, all these little mini projects, and if you get into the homebrew, that's the other thing too. Regardless of whether you want to share it with anyone else, you can just make your own little things for your own collection and that sort of thing. Sometimes you just do your own little mini projects and stuff. Bit of a 3-in-1 hero. I like that, to make him more magic or science. Oh, see, that's a good question, because I don't know enough about Doctor Doom, but I get the sense that, yeah, there's like a science side to him and a magic side. Oh yeah, great point. I would have totally have understood if they would not have been okay with homebrew, right? Yeah. And I get the sense sometimes in some of the communities, like the board game geek community, that a lot of the fans are not in favor, and they keep poo-pooing it and stuff, and saying like, oh, homebrew is generally trash and stuff like that. So yeah, it's an interesting one, but um, although I was complaining about that to Nelly the other day, and he said, yeah, actually, I've been in a lot of other communities, and homebrew is generally trash. So I think we're doing a pretty good job. Most of the stuff I've seen in our community is all really cool, and I think it comes from, like, we all give each other so much feedback and encouragement and stuff, that we sort of like help craft stuff that actually works by the time we get it out there, sort of thing. I mean, we are allowed to use their art and then share it with others. um yeah, all that sort of stuff. I'm like, I don't know, like, I think the main thing is, as long as we're not um yeah, like, going too far with it and stuff, I think we're okay. So I think they seem to recognize that it just helps promote the hobby. And like, and to this person I was talking about's point before, they made lots of good points, which I totally agree with, because I wasn't saying that I didn't like homebrew or anything, but they were saying that, like, homebrew totally makes the game more valuable to people. Like you mentioned, you get more value out of your minis and that sort of stuff. So, and people are more likely maybe to back if they know that there's a strong homebrew community that will perhaps fill gaps in their personal preferences, if they don't if they don't like particular villains and that sort of thing as well. Yep, no worries, Martin. Thanks for joining us. I've got to go soon too, because it's it's getting pretty late here. But yeah, but thank you for being with us. And for those still sticking around, like, the TMNT project didn't make any money, just enough to pay for making all the components. Well, that's the other thing too. They like, the project was just guys making it and posting it up, and this is the thing I see a lot of the time with the TMNT project in particular. I see a lot of people saying, and I think maybe, Sin, you might have said this yourself, like, oh yeah, I missed out on the TMNT thing. And I'm like, it didn't go anywhere. Like, it's like, there was some group buys that a different person, a person that wasn't involved as the designers, came in and said, oh, hey, I'm going to organize this group buy just to make it a bit cheaper for people to order. And I totally understand, like, if the only way you can get it is when it's a cheap enough to order through a group buy, that's totally understandable as well. But the files have been put up and it's available. Like, anyone can just print, home print or pro print the file, sort of thing. Yeah, and the designers, they it wasn't them raising the money for that group buy. It was a different guy. He came in sort of separately, that Ernie guy, and did that sort of thing. So and like you say, he wasn't trying to make a profit. He was just literally just trying to get a bunch of people together to make it cheaper for, I guess, himself and others to order it. So he was just raising that. And I think he did have some little models that he'd either made himself or something like that. And he also helped promote the polymorph models and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think there was any, it wasn't anything like that. But if you do like the TMNT stuff, I believe in the Discord and maybe on the Facebook. I'm not sure about the Facebook. And I think he might even have his own little website somewhere. But Lukey19 and I think maybe Divided Sky have posted all of that stuff, like links to a Google Drive or whatever, where you can access that and print it off. So correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in the homebrew community, if that's totally not true. But if you want TMNT stuff, if you're happy to print it off home print, that's super cheap, and you can you can do that. Or if you're prepared to use a professional printer sort of thing, you can do that yourself without having to do the group buy sort of thing. That's just totally up to you whether you think the cost is worth it for that. But yeah, it's still there. So the TMNT stuff, as far as I'm aware, is available. So yeah, check that out. But where was okay? I wanted to go through, although we're getting pretty late now, but I did want to show off. So this is kind of, if you see where this blue thing is here, that's all of the characters, all the villains from the official villains from Marvel United, and that marker there was how many I've played. So you can see I've only actually played about half of the official characters. I've spent so much time replaying characters, replaying for playthroughs, and then playing lots of homebrew and playtesting. I still haven't got through about half of my collection of actual villains. So there's so much more to go. I'm stoked about that. I've got I've got content for ages. But I wanted to go through and I guess as a way of like showing my love for the design, maybe just going through all the characters I have played and giving a little mini rating or something. So, or at least talking about maybe the ones that I remember or something like that. So let's go through some of the ones that I've played. So Loki, I don't remember much about him, but I think he was. I think I remember liking him because he was a little bit easy. Like he wasn't too, he wasn't too hard. So I was like, he was a nice, fun, relaxing one to play against. This is the opposite. This is Legion. He is super unique, super fun. Yeah, really challenging. I remember playing him, I think, in the Thanos challenge, but he's one that I wonder how much replayability, because that deck is always seated in the same order, like different cards, but like I think you always have the same like the same personalities in the same order. So I wonder if it becomes a bit of a puzzle that becomes solvable after a while. But I think that's probably an issue with all of the characters eventually, right? They'll have a bit of an arc to them that you probably can solve. Vulture, yeah, he's rough. He's rough, but congratulations to Andrew Fantasia, who finally plucked the bird here and got him not on camera, but he did get him in a subsequent playthrough. So yeah, but he's cool, and so he'd be a great candidate for you know, I know, I think actually yourself or Dave, Martin, if you're still here, know that like he's one that you could possibly homebrew to your taste to make him a little bit easier or less sort of swingy. But also Dave's overconfident villain deck that sort of like is the opposite of a complication deck could maybe make him a little bit easier. Thanos, pretty fun. I remember having a really fun time with him, but I don't love the some of the craziness that can happen with the Infinity Stones and that sort of stuff. But he is pretty epic, and I did love the fact that you could play with the Black Order if you wanted to, or you could mix and match and that sort of stuff. So he makes a big event sort of thing. So he's pretty fun. And I remember I had a lot of fun playing with that. I took like the most evil team against him. It was like Magneto and Apocalypse and all these sort of guys. And I think I had Bob as well, which made things even harder. That was fun. Spiral, she was really interesting, but she was sort of like my first introduction into characters that like cancelled your special rules. And I found that not super fun, because it was like, and I know a lot of people talk about this, you know, they don't like the ones where you have to play random or where you have to cancel your special rules and stuff like that, like with Galactus. But the fact that you can sort of get that out of the way and then keep playing, like she wasn't too bad. I didn't hate it. Like, so it's not my favorite mechanic in the world. And she had an interesting thing with the track down here and stuff. She was pretty cool. We have, now here's one that I have no memory of playing. She's in my stack of cards that I think I've played, but I actually don't know that I have. So I'm just gonna not say much about her because I don't really remember. He needs a classic look. Now, who's that needs a classic look? Who are we talking about? Who needs a classic look? The Vulture needs a classic look? Is that his classic look? Or oh no, his classic look is the he's like an old man or something with the weird bird feather suit and stuff, right? Vulture, yeah, there you go. Yeah. I knew who you were talking about. I'm on the same wavelength. Mojo, I don't think I've beaten Mojo. I think I quite liked his mission, and I thought he was going to be easier than he was, but I think he got me. I think it was one of the first not homebrew, first playthroughs I did on my old phone. So yeah, I don't know if you can make anything out with that video, but he was pretty fun. Lady Deathstrike, she was nasty. I think, yeah, she was really hard. I think I remember playing her with, I think I played her with my daughter and my mum, actually. That was a good family game. And my daughter was making things really difficult because she really didn't want to get hit. And so she was refusing to like block the hunted hero or whatever, take one for the team sort of thing. Even though she did it, we kept trying to explain that like if you get KO'd, you're not out of the game. You lose, lose your cards sort of thing. But that was that was a tough one. But I think we managed to pull off a victory with Mirage, and I think Mirage was in the game we used, and somehow we used her to sort of save the day. Sabretooth, tough one. I had a really cool, I played him a couple of times now because I played him when I was playtesting my G.I. Joe stuff, and I had a really thematic game with Sabretooth hunting down one of the G.I. Joes, and I think it was maybe Scarlet, and it was one of my first games where I was playtesting the vehicle mode, and it was really fun. It was like the Joes kept like ditching their vehicles, and Sabretooth would like get in vehicles and stuff. And so there was this like fun sequence where like they kept sort of jumping from vehicle to vehicle. And I was imagining like one of those Hollywood chase scenes where they're jumping on top of the roof of the cars and stuff like that. So, none of that is described in the actual gameplay or the rules of vehicle mode. But this is what I was picturing in my head, because you can essentially, when you're in your vehicles, you can ignore a hit basically by bailing out sort of thing. So you can turf the vehicle and sort of like ignore 1 damage sort of thing. So he was coming around doing 2 damage, I think, a turn, but like they were just sort of keeping ahead of him. And I think they might have had some healing factors and stuff like that to get themselves out of that trouble or something. So yeah, that was good fun. So yeah, that was, sorry, a little plug of my homebrew stuff, but yeah, I remember distinctly that Sabretooth battle. That was a lot of fun. Dr. Doom. Now, again, I think I've played him. I don't think I played him on camera, but he was really fun. I liked all his Doom bots and stuff, and I think I used the official um, Fantastic Four against him, and it was really thematic and fun. On that note, I don't have their dashboard here, but the Galactus. I've seen a lot of people saying they don't like Galactus, but for whatever reason, I really enjoyed Galactus, and I didn't find those cosmic power zappy things too bad either. And but I think a lot of it had to do with I was using the Fantastic Four, and that was like a super fun fight with them. So I don't know how fun he would be with other regular teams, but that was a really fun fight. Magneto, yeah, he's a really cool one. Like he's a cool old school one. That whole thing where he's like, it plays very differently, where you really got to watch the number of tokens in the locations, and he's automatically putting out civilians with his sort of like special rules. This was one of those ones that sort of like doesn't look like it changes up the rules too much, but it really does sort of play quite differently, and you got to sort of think about how you're playing. Strife, he was one of the first ones I played as well, because I was really excited to get like the X-Men set and have all the stuff from Executioner's Song. So I played him early on, and I can't remember if I beat him or not, but I remember the whole thing with his thugs take extra punches, because he's using those Death Rider guys and stuff. So that was cool. But I've got a soft spot for Strife, because he was like the main villain of the one comic storyline that I sort of mostly collected back in the day. Red Skull, everybody's favorite intro character. What more can you say? He's got a bit of everything. He's pretty cool. Sin saying, I've tried Magneto in super villain mode and messed up his win condition 3 times before we understood how to make it work. Okay. Yeah. That's I would like to try. I don't tend to like my competitive games very much, but yeah, supervillain mode. I sort of am tempted to try that at some stage. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Black Dwarf. Yeah, I remember playing this guy. Don't remember much about it though. I think I played him recently. Which it doesn't really bode well, does it? If I say that, or doesn't speak well to him as a fight. If I played him recently and I don't remember him, but that's the honest truth. Rhino, yeah, he's probably the the one villain, because I think actually Vulture, I think when I played Vulture, I got super lucky and actually beat him the first time. So I don't think I realized just how bad he can be. Whereas this guy, the first time I played him, even knowing about the special setup where you know, have to put the special card on top and all that sort of stuff, he just was super unfun. Like, just I had so many bad cascades of like just no turns in a row, not being able to do any actions and stuff. It just and I think I also had a bad matchup. I think I had Groot or something that gave very limited actions, and yeah, it just wasn't great. Wasn't great at all. Yeah, Legion would be an interesting one because the players wouldn't have to play his cards in order. Oh, that would be an interesting one for Legion. Yeah. Um, Legion's one as well, I think, would be right. I know he's an excellent. I know a lot of people really love him, and I think JF loves Legion as well. But so I'm not saying this from a perspective of he needs fixing or anything, but I think Legion would be one that there'd be some really interesting ways people could play around with homebrew with him as well. Yeah, these guys are a great fight. Love these guys. Yeah, yep. Just super fun, and I like how even if you take one of them out, the other one's still running around causing trouble, sort of thing. That's pretty cool. Namor, yeah, he was pretty cool with his like flooding sort of mechanic where he sort of puts the crisis tokens around and that sort of thing. Yeah, yeah, he was pretty cool. Modoc, is he the one that flips the cards over? Um, Yeah, I think that's right. He flips the cards. He's another one that like that's a very different fight, you know, especially from back in the I think he was in the very first season, wasn't he? And that's like such a different fight, you know, even from back in those days. They were just sort of showing us the tip of the iceberg with what you can do with the system. Um, Now is it Corvus Glaive? I think I played against this guy. I think I've used him with my Dynasty Warriors because I was looking for a guy with like a big scythe and stuff to play with him, or a big wacky stick with a blade on it, whatever that's called. Um, he was all right, but there's another one in the Black Order that I'll talk about more when we get to it. Juggernaut, classic, just bowls you over. Yeah, he was fun, tough but fun. Craven, he's one of those hunter ones that I don't think I think when I've played him, we didn't get away with it. He hunted us down and took us out. But yeah, good fun challenge. Doctor Octopus. Now I used him a lot when I was play testing my brute force stuff because he pops up in one of the recent brute force comics. So thematically, I was using him, and so I did a lot of my playtesting and power balancing against him, and subsequently I found out that he apparently is very easy, and so maybe the brute force are a bit overpowered because yeah, he's super easy. And then Kingpin, he's a fun fight as well. He's cool. I like him. Yeah, he's a different one as well with those what are they called? The plan cards. He's got his plan, plan tokens. Yeah, I liked him. I feel like I'm just saying, yeah, I like this guy. I didn't like this guy, sort of thing. But I guess I'm just giving my ratings, right? Oh, by the way, I don't know if I said this, but feel free to be talking about like if as these characters are coming up, let me know what you guys think about them, and or just if you've got a list of your favorites and stuff you just want to pop in the comments too, and discuss about them and stuff as well. That's cool. When I get the Witching Hour pack, we'll be making Deadpool and Juggernaut in their grey outfits. Yeah, that'll be cool. Yeah, we'll get the extra models and stuff. That'd actually be fun. I know Len from the community Facebook Meeple Monkey community page painted one of his Deadpool's as like the X-Force one, and I think that'd be cool to have like extra models to paint the different ones. And yeah, looking forward to that Witching Hour pack. That'll be cool. These guys, love these guys. This is one of my favorite things. This is one of the things that sort of excited me the most when first getting into Marvel United. The idea of this fight, and I don't know how many times I've played them. I know I lost to them at least once. I don't know if I've got around to playing them again and winning. I think I've lost maybe both times, but these, yeah, super inspired me, and ever since these guys, I've just loved any idea of like a multi-villain fight in any number of villains, and were the big inspiration for me making the upstart battle, because I really wanted to sort of try and do that, and I thought, oh, let's add one more, let's do 4 and see if we can make it work, and that was a lot of fun. Green Goblin, what a jerk! I mean, we he could go in the same boat as Vulture. I don't think is he as bad as Vulture? I know he's got a reputation as being the hardest, but I think the thing with Vulture is he could be very swingy. Like if you have an unlucky thing, you can just lose super quick with Vulture. Whereas this guy, maybe not quite as like bad as that, but like even if you survive for a fair while with this guy, you're probably eventually going to lose, sort of thing, maybe. But yeah, he's a tough one. He's a tough one. Kang, Kang, I like Kang. He's pretty fun, but he's got that potential to be really annoying. Like you could be doing everything right, and if he just happens to draw the wrong master plan card, I guess he's like Vulture in that sense, isn't he? And he's just tends to, if he just disappears at the end of the game, there's no way for you to get him back, sort of thing. So yeah, he's an interesting one. But I think that's the thing with Marvel United, right? There's so many of these. They're just no game is too long, sort of thing. Generally, I think that's probably what people don't like about Galactus is like he probably is a long fight, isn't he, sort of thing. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Ronan, don't really remember much about Ronan. I know I've played him. He hits hard. Heroes lose when the group has 4. So he's just basically trying to take out all the heroes. When the group has 4, they get a KO token. Yeah, I guess he's just trying to KO 4 people. That seems pretty straightforward. I guess if you're just looking for a real basic fight, he's all right. Nothing too interesting there. Dormammu, I really liked him. The whole thing of like having to like basically time him out, like you have to just like let him go. But I quite liked that one. That was pretty fun. Deathbird, don't remember her. I think I've played her, don't remember her. So maybe I should, the ones I don't remember, I should probably just put in the pile where I haven't played, and that way it'll be like I'm playing them from new. Sinister's fun. He's a cool one, very thematic. Grabbing the DNA tokens and that sort of thing. Quite like him. He can sneak up on you. He's one that you think you're doing all right, and then all of a sudden off we go. Taskmaster, another from that original set, really changed things up, like super duper changed things up. And super hard, man. Like, yeah, he only had the 2 health at 2 player or whatever, but like the having to get rid of, like, well, you had to get rid of what was it? Heroes cannot damage Taskmaster as long as there are any crisis tokens anywhere. That was just impossible. Like at the rate at which he drops crisis tokens, and then like, yeah, having to get around and clear all of those, and then still have enough movement and punches to take him out in like a single 2-hero round. Oof, impossible. But I guess that's where you need like the Shield headquarters and any sort of characters that can get rid of crisis tokens in other ways would be useful, I guess. This guy, I loved him because he had that Sentinel sort of like programming aspect. He was cool. Bullseye, I think he's another one like Craven that took us out. I don't tend to do too well against these like hunter heroes. Ultron, yep, another one of those ones that sort of after you played Red Skull, oh man, this one's not about henchmen and stuff. This one's all about the what do you call them? The tokens. Everybody's favorite villain, because you can use Senator Kelly from Minis from Mars with this one. She was a lot of fun. So that's the main reason I love her, is because I get to use that cool Senator Kelly model. Callisto, she was really cool. I think I actually had to use, to beat her, I had to rely on using the Plan B card, I think. She was tough. Ares, I've played him. I don't know if I played him on camera. Did I play him on camera? But I enjoyed his fight. Definitely enjoyed this guy's fight. He was cool with that. Really interesting. Some of his threats almost like help you, but then if you get rid of them, or if you leave them around, I think like you're not working on your threat sort of thing. So that was pretty cool. He was a great fight. He was cool. Big big old red Hulk there, and again we get to use the awesome Betty Ross model, but I really liked him. He was tough, and the fact that his track is so short makes that rough. Another one with minis from Mars, we can use the Rick Jones. He was a cool fight as well. I don't know which one I prefer. I think I like them both about the same. Now this next one is excellent. This was such a different fight. I loved this one. But having read back on either a Discord or a um, Board Game Geek discussion, I think I played it wrong. I don't know if it made a difference, but I know in my head I was thinking it was different. Like when because the mission is lost when a mission slots are all filled. If half or more of the tokens on it don't match the mission, it is considered lost. And I thought that if that happened, that drove that then made the characters under pressure, or the villain under pressure. So I was thinking, oh, okay, so this is like a really interesting fight because things are going to go under pressure super quick because they're going to be driving it forward. And so that's good, right? Because you want to get under pressure, but like they're going to be doing it before you're ready, sort of thing. But I didn't read the thing in brackets so I didn't notice it saying not completed. So therefore, if they knock out one of the missions, you haven't completed that mission, so they don't go under pressure. But it's also like, well, now there's less things of it. So if they can get rid of 2 missions before you're ready, like there's no way for you to even make them vulnerable, sort of thing. Yeah, so that's an interesting one. So I don't know whether I played this correctly. I think I still played it correctly. I don't think it played out where this impacted the game, but I know in my head I was thinking about it differently. So and I think I might have explained it wrong in the playthrough. So just a heads up. But man, such a cool fight where they are going through and trying to make your mission cards obsolete. Very cool. Blaster, I see some people love him and some people for some reason found him really predictable, but I loved him. I thought he was really cool how he kept throwing those heroes into the netherworld, or whatever it's called. Yeah, he was super fun. I think I'm not enough of an analyzer of how things work and card counter and stuff that I couldn't work out what super plans to make for him. I was just flying by the seat of my pants. But Blastar was really cool. Plus his name is Blastar. Blastar. He looks like something straight out of Thundercats, by the way. Thundercats ho. Hello, Von Track. How you going? Villains can become easier or absolute nightmare depending on location. Of course, yeah, that's a massive thing. Like I know I play with my double wild as well, so that always has an impact. But yeah, locations can, and not just locations, but like the order and which locations are put together and all that sort of, like there's so much modularity that experiences can be vastly different. And the other thing too is I think that the correct way to play technically is you get to choose. Is that right? You get to choose where the heroes start, and then the opposite location becomes the villain's location. So therefore, you can make some sort of educated guesses about where would be best to start based on where the threats are and all that sort of stuff, and where locations might be. And so, in a sense, I feel like I might take double wilds, but I also play potentially making things harder for myself sometimes, because I like to just put my things out randomly, and usually, sorry, not put things out randomly. I like to put my locations out like thematically. Like I like to choose them thematically, and then I like to say, okay, this looks like a lair where the bad guy might hide out, so I'll put that up in the top, and then I'll put opposite that, I'll put like a location that looks like would be, where the good guys might start the story, sort of thing. So I tend to do that. So I don't think too much about where I should go threat wise. The threats go out, and so if that threat is in the spot that I've designated as looks like a good hero base, then that's the threat I'm dealing with, whether that's good or bad, sort of thing. So Yeah, so that's that's an interesting thing. Blaster looks like more hairier version of Lobo. Yeah, maybe we could do a Lobo team up. Um, Apocalypse, he was one. The big fight with Apocalypse, I think it's similar to. Oh no, sorry, it's opposite to Thanos, right? Like I think I don't mind the Apocalypse fight itself, but I was a bit underwhelmed by the Horseman battle. Whereas I like the idea of being able to play through three like high stakes games with the Black Order, but then I found the Thanos battle a bit sort of like, whoa, that could be super swingy sort of thing. I think I was lucky in the actual game I played of it was turned out pretty fun sort of thing. Although I think I messed up. I think I forgot about like a really impactful Infinity Stone for half the game that was supposed to be affecting me, so that might have affected things. Now this, holy moly, this character, it's a tie for I think no, it was definitely her, or was it? Maybe. Okay, I played Dakin recently, and you guys would have seen the playthrough of Dakin. I don't know if I mentioned it on the camera, but I had played a game of Dakin earlier against him at some point, and he smashed me before I was even made him vulnerable, sort of thing. Like I very rarely have I ever played a game where I don't even know if I put them under. No, I think I'd put him under pressure, but like I didn't make him vulnerable at all, and that really happened. I'm usually able to make them vulnerable, and then I lose it if I'm going to lose it, sort of thing. So um, that just did not work out well. And she was another one. It was like the way that the locations, as to your point, Sin, the locations and just like her first card that she played, she went up the track. She was on like 6 or 7 in the first turn, and then like I managed to like scramble and fight tooth and claw to last a fair while. I think I lasted like maybe 3 or 4 rounds, but then it was just like that game was over in the first turn because she just rocketed up so much. I forget what the thing was, but it's like, what does it say? Deal a damage to each hero in her location, discard all civilians from her location, and increase the slaughter track by 1 plus the number of civilians discarded. Yeah, I think she must have been in a location that had a ton of civilians or something at the start, and it just was like, boom. And then overflow. If 1 or more tokens can't be added to a location, dealer damage to each hero in her location. If a civilian token can't be added to a location, yeah, I think that happened. I think it was like she was in a location that might have had like 3 or 4 civilians, and she got like a card that didn't move. Like I think she got like a 0 move or something, and so she raced up like 3, and then like both locations either side like overflowed or something. So it was like, boom, she was on like 5 or 6 in the first round. It was like, holy moly. So she's probably, I would say it felt like she smashed me more than Dakin did. She's probably the worst I've ever been beaten ever. And I think I was trying to play test GI Joe vehicle mode or something at the time, and I was like, well, gotta go back to the drawing board, like, because that game is invalid because it just like the game was over before we even got to see much movement with the vehicles and stuff. G'day Nelly, how you going? Who are we praising today? The creators, yes, the original design team. So yeah, so we've had a lot of discussions and given them big props and that sort of stuff. And now I'm just kind of like boring everyone by going one by one through all the characters I've played and rating all the official characters that I've played. So, or just giving my memories of them, which a lot of is like, oh yeah, this guy was fun. So speaking of this guy was fun, Hobgoblin. Now I am reluctant to give too much away because I've promised Andrew I wouldn't play this guy on the channel or anything until he'd played him, but I think he might have played him already now. Anyway, I really liked him. He was cool. He was a lot more hard than I thought. I thought, oh, he's going to be pretty easy, and I thought I was doing really well. And then things got really scary, and then I managed to just win. He was really fun because he's got this thing where once you take him out, he comes back. So he comes back, and I think that represents something to do with like Andrew was talking about. Like there's this storyline with Hobgoblin where like it's always a mystery, like who is the real Hobgoblin, and it seems like they've killed the Hobgoblin or whatever, and then it turns out no, that was an imposter or something, and the real Hobgoblin someone else. So I think that sort of represents like the first time you take him out, it wasn't the real Hobgoblin. So I like that they sort of managed to capture that part of the story that Andrew had told me about, which was cool. And what's the other thing about him? Is that it? He brings back random threats into play. Yeah, but that bit about him coming back and sort of having that last gasp, sort of like couple of rounds after you've already taken him out, was tricky. So, and I think the threats played into that as well, and the fact that he can get them back made that extra hard as well. And by the way, Nelly, I've also said, and on Von Truck, I don't know if you were here when I said this, but please let me know in the comments like what you guys have enjoyed, like what characters you've really liked. And that sort of thing as well, or if I'm showing someone off, like, you can sort of give your thoughts as they're coming up. But I loved this guy's fight as well. I loved those little rings, and that made it a really, because it's just basically like a biff fest sort of thing, biffing each other. But the little wrinkle of those, what do we call them? Obedience discs plus his rage thing made that quite fun. Like, it gave you extra things to think about rather than just the straight sort of punching and that sort of stuff. So he was cool. This guy I've never beaten. What's his name? Morlan. I think I've tried him several times, and he just was he was tough. All of those henchmen and stuff, I couldn't handle it. So I'm gonna have to maybe craft a super team of heroes. Maybe I'll get a whole bunch of overpowered homebrew characters and take him on. Maybe I'll get in a tank, GI Joe vehicle mode, run this guy over. Can't bite me if I'm in a tank, right? So there we go. And Anti-Venom. I think I played Anti-Venom on the channel, didn't I? He was one I was worried about because a lot of people were mentioning they didn't think he was because the design team, actually, Andrea said that they thought this guy was a great one to showcase for new players in that Spider-Geddon set. Maybe because he sort of does a bit of everything. But a lot of folks pointed out that he has a lot of these effects that hamper your ability to use special effects and that sort of thing. Whenever a hero with a special effect card is discarded, whenever a hero card with a special effect is discarded or turned face down, increase the track. So, and he has a lot of effects that I think do flip things down and make it harder for you to use your abilities and stuff. So that's something that I don't always enjoy. But I think whenever I see these sort of heroes, I think, oh, that's really lame and I don't want to use that. But then the thing is, a lot of the cards you have in your hand do not have special effects and stuff in them. So sometimes it doesn't impact as much as you think it's going to impact in the game, sort of thing. But as a general rule, it's not the best sort of thing, is it? So, but I didn't dislike him as much as I thought. I think I quite enjoyed the fight, so that was cool. We could do with a little image of all the tokens and a list of what uses what. Yeah, like a index, indexy type of thing, or a glossary sort of all the symbols. That sounds like something that the Board Game Geek community would have in their files. But yeah, there you go. Well, Sin, someone on the homebrew community might mock that up for us. This guy, he's probably one of my all-time favorites. I love this character. I love the hero version as well, but man, this guy's fight, it kind of reminds me a bit of the Demo Goblin and Doppelganger, like that. The whole thing where he's doing his own missions and stuff, and those spider bots being real jerks and stuff. Like, this was a great fight. So good, such a good fun, flipping the game on its head sort of thing, where you're sort of competing against. I guess it almost feels like the blue versus gold team thing, right? Where you're trying to race and complete missions faster than the other hero team. So he was a lot of fun. I think I enjoy his hero version even more. Like, I think I'm even more of a fan of his hero version, but that villain fight was great. This is a great chaotic fight. Spot, just super fun, super thematic, bounce all over the place, very swingy. You could potentially have very different game experiences with this guy, but super duper fun. I really like how they did this guy, and love the model, love the character, and reminds me a lot of Toad from Kanji Studios when he made his individual Toad battle. Great. These guys, I loved these guys. I did not like the idea of these guys in their box at all. With the that's strong words, isn't it? From someone who backed it all in. Why would I want to get all in if I had boxes that I didn't like at all, sort of thing? I should say I wasn't as enthusiastic about these guys, but Josh from Table Play mentioned early on when he received the games that was a battle that he played, and he really enjoyed them. Like, I think I'd asked him, like, what's your favorite sort of battle that you've had, and this was like his first choice, and I was like, really, those guys? And that really piqued my interest. I thought, oh, maybe this box is going to be a winner. And man, I loved these guys. And I also loved the shield agents in that box in this particular fight. Like, I had a really lucky game where I was able to combo things, and it felt really good. But I've seen, and I agree, like their cards look very situational. Those shield heroes. I think Quake in particular. But when you can pull it off, awesome fun. They're really, really fun. And I loved this multi-villain fight, and I loved that they all kind of moved, and that you couldn't take them out unless you like completely took them out in one go. Like, they always sort of healed back because they kind of like blended with the crowd and sort of ran away again. You had to sort of hunt them down again. So that was a really fun twist on multi-villain fight. And that's the other great thing. We talk about how much variety there is, and in all these things, and even within the multi-villain fights, there's so much variety. So awesome. That's a very cool one. We're getting towards the end here. This is an interesting one because it was I really liked the idea of the model and the character. The fight was fun enough, but now that, and I actually did, yeah, I think this fight was fun. I think I've said that this guy is one of those ones that I don't remember a lot about it though. Like, I know it was fun and it was challenging, but it wasn't like, oh man, that totally breaks the game and changes up things on me. I don't really remember it being that way. But seeing Diversion Architect's version of this, I'm like, oh, I didn't think there was anything wrong with this design, but I'm very tempted to try the homebrew design as well, sort of thing. But yeah, this guy was cool. Let's have a look here now. White Widow, yeah, she was fun. Like, I played her. She was one of the, I think, like the second last official game I played with her. And yeah, this Deathless Frenzy thing here. Heroes starting their turn with one or more crisis tokens treat. That was really scary. I was like terrified of her. And I think we sort of managed it pretty well. I think, did we win? I think we won against her. But yeah, she was one I thought I was really worried about her, and I think I had to, like, I was trying to think really carefully when playing her. But I think we had some luck with her. Yeah, but I really liked her. I liked that idea of that battle. US agent, love him. He can be a bit. I feel like he can be a bit easy, but I love the idea of him, and I love that I've tried it out with different hero decks, and not all the time, but you can come up with different heroes you can play with this guy, different hero decks, and they work. So you can have like your Havoc in a jacket being the bad guy. You can have different ones. So it's up to you guys to go out there and try them and see which ones work. But he does work. And even without the shield, even though that shield's kind of built into his mode, I tried the Havoc thing without the shield, and it was still challenging and worked. So that was good. Yeah, I love what he brings for the variability of what you can do with the game. He's a great one. US agent is a bootleg Captain America, so I'd expect him to be easy. Yeah, that's right. Let's see, Annihilus. Now this guy, I've got a bone to pick with this guy because he was like, and should be pretty challenging and stuff, but I feel like, because I think we lost against him, but oh no, wait, hold on again. Hold on, was I using a different one? There was one where I think I was using his locations. Was it him? Where he had that like gross planet, and then I had like lots of different hazardous locations, and there was one where like the planet kept dropping tokens on itself, and every like 3 turns that automatically like push the cards forward or something like that. And I feel like, I can't remember if it was him or Sentry, but I feel like if we hadn't been using that location, we might have taken this guy down. I'm going to say it was him, but anyway. But yeah, very challenging, very tough. but a lot of fun. He was cool, and I enjoyed that battle because I was using the complications deck and stuff as well, and I still enjoyed it. So yeah, that was fun. I even used like 3 was it 3 or 4 complications in the thing, so I was going crazy, but it was fun. Fin Fang Foom, super big model. Maybe not as epic as for the size of the model, and that he was the big all in and that sort of thing. Maybe not as epic a fight as he could be, but still a very different fight. And this whole idea that you've got to like race through him quickly because he's only essentially got a master plan deck of 6 cards. So if you take too long to get through the dormant phase, like you could run out of cards there. But then as soon as you get yourself into position to make him awake, then you've only got 6 cards to take him out, and he's like super tough. And by that stage, he's probably moving every 2 hero turns and stuff. So yeah, it's he seems kind of straightforward. You think, oh yeah, I'll take this stuff out. He's dormant, and then I'll just smash him at the end. But it's like, no, are you going to smash him when he's like he's coming after you and he's eating you and stuff? So yeah, he was a interesting one. He's missing. Who's missing pants? Is it him? Is he missing pants, or is this guy missing pants? He's got undies on. I think he's got undies on. Does he? So yeah, Fin Fang Foom. Yeah, pretty cool. I enjoyed him. And this is the last one on my list. He's the most recent one I played. I loved this guy. He smashed me the first time I played him. Had a really fun fight with all the that Wolverine team. So yeah, you're probably one of those villains where it suits choosing your curating your team, taking a lot of punches and stuff. But he was super fun. Yeah, I really liked him, and he's got an even shorter track than Red Hulk. Look at that track; it's so short, so you can get in trouble real quick. And I think that's what happened in that game where I got smashed. I think I was actually doing really well, and progressing through the missions and the thugs and all that sort of stuff fairly well, but I just I think I didn't have the right team combo, and I also probably spread out too much, so that I didn't have the ability to sort of mitigate the damage by spreading the damage out over a few turns across a few different heroes. Like he would just land on a hero and it was like, too bad, you got to challenge that guy, and also he's going to hit you for 2 sort of thing. Like you don't get a choice. And I think that's what made this creep up. So like it was just like, oh yeah, I was kind of like winning, losing a couple, winning one. So I was like, oh, hopping around here, and then all of a sudden he was like smash, 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 and yeah, it was all over, and it was before I could even get him vulnerable. So yeah, that was tricky. Would you expect anything left from Wolverine's kid, right? Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was super fun. So yeah, they're all the official villains that I have played against, based on regular dashboard sizes. So I mentioned Galactus, but I loved the Herald fight. That was super fun. I really liked the Wrecking Crew. That was awesome. Sinister Six. Sinister Six is one of those ones that I didn't play until super late. And in fact, I think the first time I played it was actually Dave's Rogues Gallery mode. So by the time I got to play Sinister Six, I was kind of like, I've already played this sort of thing. So, but it's a fun fight. The only thing I think is that it's sort of, even with all the modularity of all the new ones and that sort of thing, I don't know. Something about it where it just, there's not a lot to it apart from each of their little BAMs and how those can all combine together. Like the fact that it's all very much just like, okay, is there an overflow that puts out more cards? Is there it's kind of just like, there's a lot of effects that just put more cards out in the storyline and race it that way. So, like in terms of telling a story, and having lots of intricate parts, and as you mentioned the other day, and I don't think Martin's still here, but as Martin mentioned, he loves the design of Dave's Rasputin, Mikhail Rasputin, one of the Apocalypse's horsemen in the Age of Apocalypse. He loves the way that he's crafted a story with the way that the the threats sort of like combine together. So like to complete this threat, you need to have completed this and this and that. So you've got to sort of like work out the puzzle of which way to sort of do this, and it sort of tells a story thematically about, okay, you've got to destroy this, sabotage this, so you can get to this guy and all that sort of stuff. And with the Sinister Six, and so other, for example, the Dakin's thing about, he runs around and challenges you. It's got that unique flavor to it, who's another one here? Like Demo Goblin's thing, where they're sort of running around and stealing things off, or actually adding more things to the mission cards and stuff. Blastars, he's grabbing people and putting them in space jail and all that sort of thing. Whereas the Sinister Six, there's not a lot other than just the fact that there's lots of guys around. But I suppose that's such a different thing anyway, and such a chaotic and fun thing that that's the difference, right? That's the thing that makes that fight different, and it's pretty fun. So yeah, but there's so much cool content out there. It's great. So and I hope I was able to just show, even with that little half a range of villains and stuff there, just how much variety and fun, and what a great job they've done, with their designs. Not every hero or villain's going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I think the design team in general have not only created a great system that is so adaptable and so ripe for putting more and more stuff out, but the characters that they did design, I think by and large, there's so much fun to be had here. Like it's not. I personally don't think it's a game where there's like maybe 10 heroes amongst the 500 that we've got that are actually a decent fight, and the rest are just iterations on mediocre. I think the vast majority of stuff is fun, and yes, you'll have as Sin, you mentioned, locations and things like that can have an effect and stuff. But I think most of the time you're going to have a fun time with Marvel United. So yeah, Sinister Six is my next expansion, maybe for Christmas. Now, are you going Sinister Six, or are you going what's the new one called? I always call it the new Sinister Six, or it's Maximum Carnage. Are you going to go the Maximum Carnage route, or are you going to go the Sinister Six? I don't know which one would be more expensive on the aftermarket now. I think Sinister Six is not retail. What about Maximum Carnage? Is that retail? Don't know, but well, good luck either way with whichever one you're going to get. I hope you enjoy that and have a lot of fun. And in the meantime, Sinister Six first. And can I suggest, if you do, and I know you've just got into the hobby, and by all means, do whatever is going to suit your budget and stuff. But if you do eventually look into the homebrew side of things, there's some excellent Civil War Sinister Six reskins that were made by, I think, Captain Kirch. So there's one where you can play play against the Captain America team, and one where you can play against the Iron Man team. Martin has made an Illuminati one where you can play against the Illuminati, and all of these ones I've mentioned have their sort of hexagonal dashboard and the decks and stuff. But Dave has made the Rogues Gallery, which is a modular system. So you build, essentially using these cards that he's made, you build out a dash made from these cards that allow you to have like a modularity to them, and then you basically take from this collection. There's about, I want to say, let's be conservative and say 30, but I think there's much more than 30 different characters from the Marvel universe that himself and Kanji have made. So you can have tons of characters. So he's got like all the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. He's got Apocalypse and Magneto. He's got a bunch of the X-Men. He's got Upstarts. He's got the Acolytes. All these different X-Men characters, and I think beyond the X-Men as well. I think there's like Black Panther and the different Avengers and that sort of thing. So you can mish and mash, and you can have like huge. So everyone raves about how great the Maximum Carnage thing is for replayability, but really, if you look at the Rogues Gallery, there's a ton more characters you can mix and match with that, and they're all good fun. And essentially, it's the same mode. It's like he's made a assembled deck like in that one, where it's all just listed as A, B, C, D, E, F characters, and all the characters are just these single cards you put down on the that template, and they have listed what their symbols are that you need to get rid of to make them vulnerable, and they have their little BAM effects and stuff, and it's great. So it's super good fun. So I'd definitely recommend that one. I hope my first one will be Bad Santa Claus. There you go. I will look at it, and I'm hoping to try homebrew anytime. Yeah. Well, Bad Santa Claus. Yeah, if you're looking for that one, or I know you've entered the competition too, so good luck with that. Hopefully you can just have it sent on your way. Otherwise, yeah, Minis from Mars has it there, and it's yeah, very cool. Speaking of Civil War, when we get DC, we can have Justice League versus Avengers. Yeah. Oh, that's what we've got to start doing as well. Got to start adding DC characters to the Rogues Gallery list. So, Dave, if you ever watch this down the track, that's put that on your list. We've got to add some DC characters to that. Yeah, but yeah, Justice League versus Avengers, all that sort of stuff will be fun, right? So, very cool. Well, thank you very much, guys. I probably should hit the road because it's 1 o'clock here. So, we've got a big day tomorrow. So, oh boy, I'm looking forward to the last one of these. They've been a blast. I've had a lot of fun with you guys. It's been great, and so thank you very much, guys, for joining us each of these nights as well. But I can't wait to get a good night's sleep too. So that's going to be good fun. But yeah, sleep. That's you're getting old when like the most thing you look forward to is just sleep. 1.5. Oh my god, if I've been talking for an hour and a half. Oh my god. Well, there you go. So lots of stuff to celebrate. And big thanks to Andrea, Eric, Ruguford, and Edouard, Tiago, all the guys, anyone who's involved in any way in the official CMON product. Thank you very much, guys, for making such a wonderful game that we can explore and play in. Thank you very much to all the folks that have been joining us for these videos and that sort of thing. And yeah, thanks for you guys for being here. 2 p.m. there. Yeah, that's nice. You could still get out, and I was going to say go to the beach, but is it winter? Winter. Yeah, is it winter over there? It'd be winter, right? Northern Hemisphere. All day to play. There you go. You guys can go and play some MU. There you go. Here's I'll give you your character you need to go out and play. I'll pick one that I haven't played yet. All right. Scream. There you go. Go out and try Scream if you've got them available. But yeah, thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure. Don't forget to enter the don't forget to enter the Bad Santa competition if you haven't already. 2 copies of that to give away, so may as well be in it to win it, sort of thing. Winter in the UK, but it's raining at the moment and nowhere near a beach. Well, still. Marvel United all day for Marvel United. So yeah, that's cool. So but yeah, thank you very much, guys. Been a pleasure, and I'll catch you on the next one. Tomorrow we have one last group or individual, who knows what it will be, to give a shout out to, and I hope you guys have really enjoyed this. If my calculations are correct, yeah, tomorrow will be the 23rd. Well, it's actually already to the 23rd here, but in terms of what I'm doing this later today, I'll be doing this on the 23rd. So I've really stuffed up my timing. I was planning to finish on the 24th. So yeah, I think I'm not sure. I'll have to think about whether I do the draw tomorrow or the draw the next day on the 24th. Maybe I'll do the draw on the 24th. So yeah, we'll see how we go. But either way, get that entry in so you don't get caught out if I do it tomorrow. So, well, thank you, guys. Take care of On Track. Have a good one, Sin. Day 12, then the bonus episode. That's right. So I think that's what we'll do. I think that'll be the plan. So, oh, actually, last thing. Andrew Fantasia and I are going to have a chat, not tomorrow or not later today, but my Tuesday. So on my Tuesday, US Monday night, I think, if I'm getting that correct, we're going to do our follow-up, our second review of Arcane, the TV series, which I absolutely have loved that series. Andrew has finally caught up and watched the second season, and I cannot wait to get his insights and his reactions to it, because that second season just blew me away. Like, yeah, absolutely great. So we're going to have a chat live stream about that coming up too. So who knows? Maybe that'll be the bonus episode, and I'll maybe I'll do the prize draw then. That'd be fun too. So yes, so yeah, check that out. And if you haven't watched Arcane, I highly recommend it. It's fantastic. I loved it. I don't know anything, well, I don't know much about the League of Legends video game, but I know that the Arcane show is fantastic. So you don't have to know anything or love the video game to get into it. It's just a fantastic show, standing on its own 2 feet. So you saying that need to watch Hell of a Boss? You saying that need to watch the Hell of a Boss season 2 finale? Arcane. So Sin, are you saying you need to watch, is Hell of a Boss a show? Is that like an anime or something like that, and you need to watch the finale? Or are you saying that the finale for season 2 of Arcane is something you need to watch? I'm not sure. But either way, sounds good. And yeah, Von Track, Arcane is a I want to say it's a Netflix show that has recently aired here, and there are 2 seasons of it, 2 seasons only, and it is like, yeah, animated series, and it's based on a video game called League of Legends, but it's its own thing, and it is fantastic. The just everything about it, the character studies, the themes, the animation, the music, the style, just blows my mind. Just absolute cinema masterpiece. Yeah, spell it, please. Oh, you've spelled it. You spelled it right. Arcane. Yeah, like the way you're spelling it is correct. Yeah. So Arcane is in magic. Yeah. Definitely a good series. So definitely watch. And then Hell of a Boss is on YouTube. Its sister show has been Hotel is on Prime, made by the same creator in this same world. Okay, Hell of a Boss. I'll have to check that out. There you go, Von Track. You'll have to check out Arcane, and I'll have to check out Hell of a Boss. Anyway, thanks guys, and I'll finally properly say Meeple Monkey out. So see you guys. Thanks.